I'd like to welcome Geoff Klock, assistant professor at the Borough of Manhattan Community College, Gordon Smith, costume designer on the X-Men, Phil Saunders, costume designer on Iron Man, concept designer on Iron Man, and Adi Granov is on his way, and when he arrives, he'll be rushed to the stage. So he will be here, and I'm going to just turn it over to Geoff. There you go.
Thank you. There's a great scene in Spider-Man 2 when Spider-Man is in an elevator with the actor Hal Sparks, and I think Sparks is taking his dog out for a walk or something, and it's kind of a jokey sort of scene where Spider-Man's in the full uniform and they're just sort of standing in an elevator together, and Sparks says something like that's a nice costume. Oh, thanks. Where'd you get it? Oh, I made it. Oh. And it's a subdued scene. It's a joke on the fact that in the first Spider-Man movie, there isn't really the origin story is told there, but there isn't a scene where we explain where does he get that wonderful costume, and it's especially visible when you see the costume downstairs, in the exhibit at the Met. It's not something that jumps off as being immediately, Peter Parker, student in Queens is going to kind of sew this thing together. And it points to kind of something that was not part of the of sort of that first Spider-Man movie. Iron Man is a really important movie to talk about in the context of the exhibit at the Met, because Iron Man is a movie in which the costume is even more important than it is in any other superhero movie that I can think of, because Iron Man is a movie that is about the creation of a costume. The entire film, not a sequence, not the first act. The entire film is about creating a costume. Act 1 is build one kind of suit. Act 2 is build another kind of suit. Act 3 is who built the better suit. And it is about the entire movie from beginning to end. I mean, Phil Saunders and Adi, these guys are Iron Man, right? They're creating the uniform and they're creating the outfit for a movie which is about the creation of an outfit. And that represents one spectrum of the superhero costume. At the other extreme, we have Mystique and Nightcrawler from the X-Men films. And Michael Chabon talks about, in his New Yorker piece that was the intro to the catalog, about how there's a kind of 0 point of the superhero costume. And he brings up the Silver Surfer, who basically looks like a silver mannequin on a surfboard, and Namor, who just wears a Speedo. And at the 0 point of that superhero costume is being completely naked. And I think, it's a body, that's simply colored on the page, the sort of naked human form colored, and that is exactly what Mystique is in the X-Men movie. A big part of that is the naked body colored. So it's good. This is an interesting to put these two characters together. Hey, hello. JFK. This is good. That was perfect. Perfect. I designed that intro just to give you time to get through the lobby.
Hi, everyone.
And so these two characters, Mystique and Iron Man, represent the sort of opposite ends. Iron Man, the costume is completely external, and it is essentially a vehicle. Mystique, her costume is, the nude body colored. It's internal versus external. It's naked versus a vehicle, and it's private versus public. It's this kind of they're completely polar opposites in the design. So it's going to be good to talk about. So we've got pictures, and we're going to have a discussion about. We're going to go through some of the concept designs for Iron Man and the finished designs for Iron Man and the costume designs, the early designs for Mystique and Nightcrawler and how that looked. And I have a couple images at the end if we have time. So let's go to our. Oh, and this is, by the way, when John Cassaday was talking about Rob Liefeld putting too many pockets on everybody all the time. This is John Cassaday's artwork from Astonishing X-Men, and it's a great parody of the kind of costume. Pockets everywhere. What does he keep in them? No one knows.
It's supposed to name him directly. He smokes.
All right, let's see what we got here. I'll look at that. So these are images from Iron Man. We've, of course, seen quite a few comic book images from Iron Man today, so I don't want to spend too much time on that. But you can see the different sort of versions of Iron Man he's gone through. He's a superhero that has certainly gone through a fair amount of changes, although there is always there's a sort of constant center to it. It's not quite as dramatic as the Superman electric blue. Do you guys have anything you want to say about these images? Next.
Cool.
We wanted to put these images side by side because you have the original Iron Man next to Adi Granov's Iron Man. So, Adi, if you want to say a thing or two about the Extremis series.
Boy, thank you very much. Well, Extremis was kind of wow, is that really loud? To me, it sounded very loud.
They alter it inside.
Extremis was a reboot of Iron Man. I think Iron Man wasn't selling very well at the time, and Marvel decided to kind of give it a modern revamp and turn this retro character, kind of still stuck in the 60s, into something more relevant to today. And they pretty much gave me free rein to visually do what I wanted with them. And then the writer Warren Ellis, who wrote it, he's very much into technology, high-tech stuff, nanotechnology, and he's obsessed with mobile phones. So there's a lot of mobile phone stuff in there as well, or cellular phones, I guess. But yeah, so pretty much it's kind of where the idea that then we carried through into the movie originated, to make it look more like a wearable fighter jet as opposed to a superhero just outfit. So as you can see in that earlier one, obviously, it's all skin tight and kind of more of just like a superhero outfit as opposed to an actual weapon. And what I wanted to do is make him more like a pilot of this human-sized airplane. And I mean, the difficulty was to do that, but not go too crazy with like the Japanese mecha type of stuff, and still keep that iconic look of Iron Man in the way. So, I mean, it's kind of a juggling two different worlds, I guess.
If I can add something, I think what was really important about what Adi did with Extremis, that probably was responsible for Iron Man actually getting made as a movie, because it had been languishing in development for a really long time, is kind of doing the heavy lifting of getting it to that point where it really became viable as a film, something really realistic. You start looking at that comic book and you're able to sort of bridge from that simple drawing to what could be a very physical, very believable suit. So I think that was a really key milestone, that comic book.
One of the important things about comics is they have, a lot of them have a kind of soft science background. There's a comedian who made a joke about, I get that Superman can fly, but how does he fly faster? And this is an important, it's a really important middle step to begin thinking, to take the comics, which have kind of impossible materials, and then to begin thinking about them in a realistic way. It's an important transition to the practical things in the movies.
I think that's a good first topic, is really, I think the main challenge that you face when you are interpreting a comic book into an actual practical suit for a film is getting that level of believability. I mean, you just won't be able to keep people in the seats of a theater if you don't suspend their disbelief. If they don't, from frame one when they see that superhero in their costume, if they don't believe that could be real, unless you're doing, a comedy or a spoof or something like that. But if you really want people to engage emotionally with the character and the character's journey, they first have to believe that could happen. So there's that, as Adi was already mentioning, there's that real tightrope act of trying to evoke all of the sort of cultural knowledge that we have of technology and how things should work and all of that, and making that real, but at the same time not losing that character as an actual hero. I mean, it has to be more than just a man in a suit. It has to be a hero in and of itself.